can talk a bit more about data archetypes. As you said, there's lots of people that are just called data engineers, but they all do different kinds of things. So you have, what I call like the wrangler, plumber, and planner. So a little detail about the wrangler. The tools that they're using are more tools like analytics tools, CRMs, marketing automation tools. They're the warehouse users. They most often work with those people that really want to activate data, the marketing people, the sales people, to a certain degree, the product people. That's their job. I always call it translate nerd to English. Because they most often have to take a non-technical requirement that is, I want to know how many people use this or did this sequence of things, and they have to translate that into, okay, what SQL query do I have to run against the warehouse, or what funnel do I have to build inside the product analytics tools in order to get them that answer. Yep. And that's often difficult. And it's most often the give them what they need, not what they're asking for.
Yep. There are often times where the wrangler says we actually need the plumber to provide some sort of infrastructure or feed.
Exactly. You're going to have that technical discussion of what's the best way to get the data from A to B.
Sure.
So they're most often just a purely supportive function, very reactive, because they just get told we want to do this and they have to figure out how to do that.
Yep.
All right. So speaking of the plumber, those are, like I said, a little more on the technical side. They always have their terminal open and their code editor open. They work in the cloud platform, so like your AWS, your Azure, or Google. So these are the heavy Python and Node users. Those are the people that write Airflow decks or Lambda functions or what have you. They build those API integrations if they have to.
One thing here I would say that we've observed a lot is that at a large organization, the plumber's job is really complex. Because if you think about a simple example pipeline, okay, so you have user events being generated in a suite of apps, and then you have pipelines in the middle, and then you have warehouses, right? Okay, that sounds simple enough, but even in that scenario, you're dealing with release cycles. On mobile, you have users that are running previous versions of apps, right? So if you have data updates, you have sort of multiple sets of data from historical stuff coming in. You have release cycles. Then on the warehouse side, you have sync schedules, right? And so at large organizations, you get into, they have to have some understanding of orchestration because you have sync cycles with different warehouses and multiple warehouses. And so it is really pretty complex, pretty challenging job.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So the planner, that's going to be, it's still an engineer, at heart, because you still have to have that understanding of how these pipelines work, or at least you have to have an idea of how could a data pipeline work from tool A to B. So that's why it's more like the project manager for data things. It's the common workflow here is you work at a company and the customer success people go, here's this great new customer success tool that we want to use. We needed to have it integrated in our tech stack. Now you need the planner data engineer here, right? They are often part of these decision-making teams to whether or not to actually buy that tool. Because if the tool is super shiny and really useful and the end users, in this case customer success, loves to use it, that's great. If you can't get the data into it that you need for those people to actually use it in a scalable fashion, it's a non-starter, it's garbage, right? You can't use it.
Yep. We kind of call that shepherding the stack, right? And they have a really good knowledge of all of the ways that things integrate, and they are a huge driver of figuring out what's actually going to work.